So let's move on to the most asked said questions about China, which again is a Peter Splainer, but this one
The
was
twist.
with animation, which you worked on pretty hard while I was in America.
Yeah, we wrote it for the idea of, look, another one of those things of making these comments of, you just got to China, so here's the things that you're first going to say or ask, or people ask you.
And it wasn't intended as such, but I kind of see in it a retaliatory aspect of like, for Westerners complain about like, oh, the same 5 questions from Chinese people.
Yeah.
Which is true. Like, when you meet a Chinese person, they're going to ask you, can you use chopsticks? How old are you? How much money do you make? There's the same basic set of getting to know you questions, which, small talk is small talk. They're just working from a different set of cultural interests.
Yeah.
But foreigners, too, have stuff that they're always bringing up. If you meet a foreigner, a lot of times, what food do you miss from back home is going to come up, even though the food here is really good, so just shut up about it. But anyway, so that's the premise of this one.
And it was, speaking of our characters connecting in arcs, it was going to be you and I and the giraffe. We're all going to rotate back and forth, which we didn't get around to before you left back for America. And so I just had it around, and I wanted to practice doing some preliminary animation tests. So I just made it my character and just did all the voices. So we wrote it all before you left with an intention of putting this arc of these 3 characters together in one whole thing. But as it turned out, it's a big animation piece, and which is why it ended up taking so long.
And the animation, we've done a little bit of animation before with the giraffe and with your character a little bit.
But more cartoon version.
Yeah, this was much more movement, I would say.
Yep.
The giraffe, I think, just has some different mouth openings and eyebrow raises, but this, like, your head moved, your whole expression changed.
So we're using it.
It's a little more sophisticated.
Yeah, a little. I mean, I've done a lot of like pretty sophisticated animation in professional work, but that was with a staff of a whole bunch of people. And
a Wacom tablet.
And a Wacom tablet and a whole bunch of equipment and stuff like that. So trying to get our little system the right amount of equipment and the right amount of time and the right programs and stuff like that are something that we're working towards. Like, even though I know how to get it done, it's just a matter of accumulating this system to actually get it to work. So it goes from I'm moving the eyebrows and a mouth to making some more head movements, so hopefully like by next year we'll be doing some more full animation scenes and stuff like that. But again, that's kind of the excitement of what we're using YouTube for. It'd be nice to have a whole ton of subscribers or whatever, but really it's for little projects like this of like, we were just going to film it and it would be super easy to make, but then like, I got some extra time, let me try the next step of animation and see what I can do with that. And that'll make it easier when we want to start putting legs on people or something.
And the way you did that one was you drew it actually by hand with pencil and paper?
No. I took literally the videography that we've taken of me sitting at this desk, used that as traceable art to just draw with a mouse, not even a pen or anything like that, on the screen.
Yeah.
Which is nice because that you using a style like that, like it's so scrappy, but you use that scrap to make it a definable aesthetic to the character. So he has a sketchy look to it. I'm like, I can't draw with a mouse.
Right.
At least to that point. So so I'm going to make it. That's a stylized thing.
But you have done in the past where you scan an actual drawing and same with the mouse in Photoshop, trace over top of it.
Yeah. Or draw an ink and then place those actual like inked pieces and cut them out and make them into eyebrows or certain things like that. So that's a matter of like different kinds of tools.
Yeah. And tonight we're going to try upgrading. We have a stylus, and I forget the name of the program, but there's a program I can put on my iPad to make it mirror the desktop display. So like a Wacom tablet, you can draw on the iPad with the stylus, and it will pick up on the screen of the desktop. So we're gonna try that out and see.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Once I don't know when it was, like late '90s or so, when I started using a Wacom. It was a whole game changer. And like, I throw all my pens and paper and pencils and rulers and stuff away. Like, it's ridiculous how easy, and to the point where like I didn't even use a mouse anymore for just whatever. I'm using Word or something with a pen.
Yeah.
Like, it just throw your mouse away because this is just more natural, and it becomes everything. At least for me, everything of how I worked a computer, and having not used it in a long time, it's really exciting to like the possibility of getting back to using it. But when you're using it for art, it's amazing because it is just like sitting down with a pencil. I have a friend of mine, Matt Smith, who is super successful, and most famous illustrator that like I can actually call a friend that we worked together. I
He
may know.
draws Conan?
He draws The Barbarian Lord as his main book, but he has a bunch of other ones.
But it's not Conan. It's a different.
Yeah, it's like sort of a parody of that kind of thing. And he just got a gig. He's drawing Hellboy for Mike Mignola.
Oh, okay.
So his stuff is just amazing. But I don't know at what point he started. When I found him on Facebook like years later, he transferred everything over. I mean, he was just like pencil in his teeth and whiteout like when we worked together. And he's transferred everything over to like just working on tablets. And I think a lot of artists really have, because you don't have to, I mean, you don't have to get your hands actually dirty. You can do all of your inking. Sometimes your pen work that you are tracing, doing light pencil sketches and stuff like that, like, is easier to turn into inked black lines. And so the possibilities behind it is just makes everything so much faster to work with. So that is hopefully going to parlay into going from such crude animation to hopefully doing some much fancier stuff in the future over the next year.
Yeah, because we've already even got ideas.
Yeah.